let's start with the first presentations. I'm very happy to have with us Stefan Muller, co-founder and board member of Enerparc, really a pioneering developer in solar in Germany and in many other countries. And Stefan will share with us in his keynote simply what he sees in terms of challenges and opportunities in the development, EPC, and O&M space. Stefan, the floor is yours.
Okay, so yeah, thank you very much. Let me start the video. I think you have to do it.
I think we
yep, now it's working. Perfect. Good. So let me share my screen with you. So I hope you can see it. I see it in my split screen, but Michael, can you give me, or Laurent, can you give me a short hint if everything is fine?
All good.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So, Michael, thanks a lot for the invitation, and also having this keynote here. In my presentation, I would like to jump into different topics because we have, I would say, excellent speeches and excellent presentations also today. And you selected, I think, a good variation who covers really everything from development till products and manufacturing. And in my keynote, I will jump in one or two topics on each slides only, because I think we will get further information from the remaining team members here and participants in this call. A few things about Enerparc. You mentioned this already. We are very active. We are a developer. That means we do greenfield development by ourselves. We do the installation by ourselves. And we do the complete operation and also the energy trading by ourselves. So don't have to dive deeper into it. I think the audience probably want to hear a bit more where we are and what is the situation. And you just mentioned it already. What have we learned out of the development in the wind industry, or other way around, what the wind industry learned from us? Yeah, I think there is a big difference. I always explain the situation that generally there are not so many conferences where wind and solar are sitting together because we do not speak the same language. This is a bit the challenge, even if we speak English to each other. However, there is now a very strong development. I speak about onshore now. Onshore wind and PV coming closer to each other. So we see also a lot of similarities at the moment in the trends. So let us pick out one trend which I think is, for me, very interesting and which changes a lot. And this is the increasing interest of corporates into PPAs, all becoming finally also an IPP. We talked a bit about IKEA, we have Volkswagen, and a few other big players. This changes a lot because all the discussions which we normally have regarding rules and regulation of the government and if the politicians makes a decision or not is really off the table. And this is interesting. So the drivers are not anymore so much the politicians, it is really the corporate players. I mentioned before that we signed a very long agreement and very strong agreement with IKEA. And this is, I would say, a very good example because their sales area, for example, to calculate their CO2 footprint is not related to a country, it's a region. Yeah? So that means for them, it is independent, and their sales region, for example, Netherlands, Benelux, and France is one sales area, and they calculate the CO2 footprint of their products, of all their activities, operations, and then they want to get CO2 footprint zero. And to be honest, they don't care so much about what the rules and regulations in these countries are, or better to say, what the politicians want. Yeah, they said we will build solar, and that's it. So, and this changes also a bit the situation when we are normally talking and signing PPAs with big utilities. For them, it is a major product. It is a commodity. But for companies like IKEA and a few other ones in the market, for them, it's completely different. This is only one portion of the value chain. And this is interesting. So I think this is opens a lot of doors in the market and develop also much more activities in the particular regions. And this is not only in Europe, this is all around the globe. On the other hand, we see also at the moment big challenges on EPC sides. At the moment, I mean, we will hear probably also developments about module pricing, but we see also in other areas, we have seen the supply chain issue with shortages of inverter. So it was really for us a big challenge to develop also professional proposals and offers if the projects, when they are increasing, when they will be integrated in the next few years. So the high volatility in the product cost is, I would say, is a trend, and it's a challenge. Yeah. On the other hand, we see also, especially in EPC, and I'm sure that Electric will dive into it, the technical requirements are increasing a lot because we are part of the new infrastructure. On the other hand, we see very positive O&M activities coming up, and everything has become more digital. I mean, the discussions in the last few years and the big conferences also here in this round, we used a lot of buzzwords with the drones, big data, repowering, and so on. This is all established. This is all there. And this helps us, especially also Enerparc. We have around 500 plants which we want to manage, or which we manage, to increase the efficiency. And this means automatically that we can manage also that we probably have, especially in Germany, an issue with finding workforce, but on the other hand, to reduce also the cost. So a lot of automation is coming up. We see really a lot of automated solutions, which helps a lot the operational teams to get better. The same in asset management activities. We see AI software, we see Power BI activities are coming completely standard. And I would say also when we want to optimize the plant afterwards, and I mean now financially, the financial restructuring during operations is completely standard, like in the real estate industry. So we see a lot of super interesting trends. I would like to focus now here a bit on the EPC topic. Again, don't want to dive deeper into it. I think the biggest issues which we see at the moment is, from my point of view, the grid. Yeah, we see it in Spain, we see it in other countries. The grid is super tight. The development of 110 kV grids or 380 kV grids here in Europe takes always very long. So they are not in such a dynamic world as we live. Yeah? So that means from the trend point of view, we need a much earlier integration of the EPC player, or finally at the end also the greenfield developer, into the development with grid expertise and new technologies. And this means not only storage, this means also combination with wind, this means also DC-AC ratios, adaptation, and so on. So we need to interact very, very strong with the grid operators. Unfortunately, in a lot of countries, the grid operators are partly state-owned. And this means also they are not so, I would say, fast and not so dynamic. Especially in a few countries, you send an application to a grid operator and you do not even get an answer. Yeah. So I would say this is for me the hottest topic at the moment: grid. So when I always use the P, the challenges which we have: people, P products, P permits, and power evacuation. So for 4 Ps at the moment, which are giving us, I would say, the trend. When I look a bit deeper into it in O&M, we see also a very good development at the moment. It is not at the moment anymore the typical reactive O&M management. No? So there is a failure and then the red light is blinking and I call a service partner and so on. So this is still existing on, I would say, small portfolios. But when you look into large portfolios, and we have companies like Meteor Control, Ampere Cloud, and a few other ones, it's a much more active management. And this has also something to do that we are part of the grid. We are part of the new industry. And when you connect your power plants and you trade your energy on the exchange, then you have to be much faster. And you have to be super active also in managing things in a very dynamic and very fast way. And we see more and more O&M jobs, I would say, coming into the market, but a lot of things will be digitalized. I mean, we see here some drones, which is also completely standard. But on the other hand, we see also, I would say, a challenge. And the challenge is, and I always mention this, the PV plant as part of the new infrastructure with the additional requirements, which we need. So that means we need external software coming from probably complete other industries. And this is regarding trading, cyber security, redispatch systems. So this is at the moment also, I would say, a super interesting trend, which we see in the market, and we see a lot of new players who are very active in this. But again, the interaction between the power plant and the energy traders and the grid operators, this comes together. And we have to learn also to speak the same language. And we have to also to understand when there are some curtailments coming up. Here in Germany, I would say in the last few years, we had around 0.5% curtailment. In the last year, it was 2%. Yeah? So everything which coming in addition onto the grids will also create some additional, I would say, challenges and topics which we need to manage. So, but on the other hand, here with O&M, I'm super positive at the moment. There are a lot of things coming up, a lot of new software tools helping our operational guys to make their job easier and better and simpler. On the other hand, we have also the challenge that you cannot manage all the activities in the O&M area with the digital systems, and you have the human interface, which you see on the right hand side. I mean, the sheep is there, but you have to manage biodiversity topics, which is absolutely standard now, I would say, in Europe, and also community issues. And it can be that a hunter calls you because a deer is in the field and you have to react. Yeah, and this is what you cannot do with a bot. Yeah, so that means the human interface is also still there and is needed. Let us have a look a bit into status trends and challenges of asset management, because here it's the same. It is not anymore in reactive reporting with the typical lenders. So it's a monthly report, and you give the information to the lender, and if they ever see that the yield is the same as you proposed, this is not the case anymore. The new owners are partly not anymore the companies, the banks. So the new owners are the corporate players, and finally, very often they don't need debt, so they do everything on equity. And the new owners, they want to get the portfolio actively managed, yeah, and actively managed also. That probably you put an additional storage system into it from the technical point of view, but also from the administration point of view. That they want to have ideas from you, how you can offer probably attack services in particular countries, yeah? How you can do also a risk management. And I think there are a lot of additional new ideas where you can combine also the existing plan with the energy trading platform. Yeah. It has also something to do with O&M and asset management, which comes also more or less together, because there is a technical demand in cybersecurity. Yeah, as I mentioned before, we are part of the critical infrastructure. So as Enerparc, we have more than 3 gigawatt on our portfolio. We just certified and passed also the certification for being part of the critical infrastructure. And this has a change. Yeah? This is a deep change also in your organization and processes, but also in your office, in your building. Yeah? So you cannot let people in and out anymore, even if there is no button where you can switch off all the plants. Yeah? So, but here I'm also very positive, because asset management has something to do with human decisions, but a lot of preparations is coming from the digital side. And we see a lot of AI activities coming up to analyze the plan from the financial point of view. So I'm also looking forward to this, and this is also a super interesting part as services to your final clients. And the corporate players there, again, they have a different need than the traditional utilities or the investment funds. So in summary, I think there are 3 major topics. Number 1 is, as I mentioned before, new software providers are needed. Yeah, so there are a lot of things coming up in terms of energy management, how you can combine it with storage. I put here now a picture of Suena, which is it's a Hamburg-based company. They help us also to find the best commercial decision how to manage our storage system. You need portfolio park management. I mentioned Ampere Cloud and a few other ones. PPA bundling. There are a lot of companies here in Germany, it's Strava and Eco to Grow, young companies who bundle off-takers in the market and then can make one major PPA with a energy provider like us. So, and then we don't have to sign PPAs with 1 gigawatt hour per year. It's then 10, 20, or 30. So also super interesting activities in new software. And there are a lot of things going on at the moment. The challenge is and stays it's the technical grid know-how as a new services is a challenge and an opportunity. Again, unfortunately, a lot of grid operators are partly country-owned, so they are state-owned, and this means they are not super flexible and super fast. But they are generally also open. They're getting a lot of political pressure that they have to bring more kilowatt hours, more green energy into their grid. But the regulations are also tough, and in a lot of countries, and we hear this probably also in the next 1 or 2 hours here. A lot of regulations are really old stuff, yeah? And we need really to be much faster and much more agile. I think the biggest topic is that especially here in the European Union and in a few other markets, the PV and wind industry is a top trend. It goes further and further, and we speak here in Germany about 200 gigawatt of PV and 100 gigawatt of wind in such a small, tiny country. But this means that we will have challenges during, I would say, lunchtime. Yeah, and we hear also Next Tracker now in a summary. We see also more tracking system, east-west tracking system here, especially in the northern part of Germany. And this has something to do that you try to find a good balance between DC-AC and a tracker system in combination can help us. You lose probably the absolute yield over the lunchtime, but finally you get more in the morning and evening. And this is where we somehow in combination reach a nice platform. So this is, I think, the major activity which we see here. So in summary, we can say, and this is my last sentence, the cost driver of conventional energy was always the raw material. Yeah? So we always looked about what is the barrel of oil, how much ton is the coal, and so on. But here in our industry, in our system of renewable energy, we see the cost driver is not anymore the feedstock because this is nearly zero, but the cost driver of the renewable is the grid stability. And this, I would say, is the major challenge, but also, I would say, great opportunity. And we will hear probably some good and interesting presentations about this topic today. Yeah, so this was my keynote. Again, there are always challenges and opportunities. I'm more positive, so that means at the moment I see a lot of things coming up. However, and we will hear further information now from the other presentation. We have still to work a lot that we can manage this hard growth rate all around the globe. Thanks a lot.
Super, Stefan. Thanks for this great overview and introduction. We talk later then also on the panel, and we'll go a little bit more into details of the different
Thanks a lot.
Topics. Yeah, great.